Assemblyman Tom Kerwin died tonight, so I'd like to have a moment of silence for him. Thank you. Assemblyman Kerwin didn't represent our district, but he served the county in Hudson Valley very well for a number of years. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve. And a second.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Village Board Work Session, November 21st, 2011. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Abstain.
I have to say aye. Okay, communications. We have a letter from Orange and Rockland to the Police Department. Dear Chief Lott, on behalf of Orange and Rockland Utilities Incorporated, I am writing to thank you personally for your leadership and the high level of customer service provided by your department. In particular, we wish to recognize the efforts made by your officers and staff who provide reports specific to the damage sustained to our facilities as a result of storm and motor vehicle accidents. This information is critical in helping the company arrive at a positive resolution. Once again, thank you for your cooperation, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. Ray Vincent Depew and Jonathan Rodriguez. Next letter. Another communication to Superintendent Nesselis from the Water Department from Briarwood Apartments. Dear Mayor, we manage the Briarwood House Apartments, 18 Craigville Road, Goshen, New York. About 2 weeks ago, we had a water emergency. Mike and his department were very helpful in resolving that we could have a critical problem. Sincerely, Milton Klein, agent. Next letter. So we see the nice good news. Unfortunately, the next letter isn't such good news, but we'll go read it. Well, it's good for him, but he'll be missed.
Yes.
Yes. Chief, it is with tremendous thought and much sadness that I've decided to end my 22-year career as a police officer and my 16 years at the Village of Goshen Police Department. This decision has not been easy for me. I have grown, prospered, and gained so much priceless knowledge during my career. I have made amazing friends and gained a family that I will never forget. However, I feel that my time here at the Village of Goshen Police Department has exhausted itself. Therefore, I have chosen December 31st, 2011 as my retirement date. I would personally like to thank you as well as the members of the Village Board, especially those members of years gone by, for affording me this great opportunity to be part of such an elite family. I have always taken such pride in putting on the Village of Goshen Police Department uniform and serving the great community of the Village of Goshen. With all due respect, please accept this letter with my greatest appreciation for all that you, this department, and the Village of Goshen have done for me over the years. Other than the time previously requested, I would like to remain active with my position until my retirement date so that I may continue to get my affairs in order and properly say thank you and goodbye to those friends and colleagues that I have mentioned. Respectfully, Anthony J. Pitt, Patrolman. And we wish Officer Pitt very well. He'll be missed by staff and residents alike. He did an outstanding job for the department, and at some future date, probably December, I'm sure we'll invite him in and recognize him formally for his years of service.
That would be good, because I really like seeing, especially those members of yours come on.
Right. So I'll talk to the chief.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk to the chief and set that up, but he'll definitely be missed, and we thank him for all his service. Okay, another letter. Dear Officer Rich, on behalf of Governor Andrew M. Cuomo, I am pleased to notify you that the Village of Goshen has been awarded $3,000 to participate in the statewide Child Passenger Safety Program. Our goal is to increase the proper use and installation of child safety seats in New York State. Please know all grants will be effective only upon final approval by the New York State Office of the State Controller. Before incurring any project-related costs, logging e-grants to review approved budget as may have been reduced or otherwise changed from what was requested. Thank you for participating in this important statewide program. I wish you success in your efforts. Sincerely, Barbara Fiala, Chair and Commissioner of Motor Vehicles. So great job to Officer Rich. He's always going above and beyond for that program, and I think the department is really taking the lead on child seatbelt safety.
Oh, he's been doing it for years, and I know it's also something that's very important to him as a father of 3 small children, so it's something he takes very seriously on a personal level as well.
Oh, very good. We have a letter from the Goshen Chamber of Commerce for their holiday event request. Dear Mayor, Riding Trustees, the Goshen Chamber of Commerce is planning to hold our 16th annual Discover Goshen Holiday Lighting Festival on Saturday, December 10th from 4 to 5. A flyer for the event is enclosed. We would like your permission to hold this festival at Church Park and to erect a sign in accordance with the village's temporary sign ordinance and Village Square advertising the event. The program includes carols with Evan Tatum, Ken DeShan will read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, hot cocoa and cookies will be served, and Mayor Rowdy will light the tree. Santa Claus will be at other events in the village, and we do not want to duplicate or take away from those activities. It is of particular importance that we bring people to our downtown for shopping and dining, given the economic conditions and the closure of both the hospital and county building. The sign will be placed in Village Square Park on Wednesday, November 10th, and will be taken down after our event on Saturday, December 10th, 2011. Wednesday, November 30th, and taken down Saturday, December 10th. Please advise if you have any questions. We appreciate your support and consideration. So, any discussion on this? I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the Chamber's request.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. We have an abstract of vouchers. Abstract 2011-2012, numbers 13 and 14, check numbers 2500 through 2610, in the amount of $616,262.51. Ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Just to remind the public, that's all money that has already been checked over and verified by the trustees and our internal office protocols. Next, we have a proposal from Lincoln Tully for topography for the stockpile site. Art, do you just want to speak to this briefly?
Yeah, now that the stockpile is removed, this needs to be done for two reasons. We need to get the current elevations that exist at the site so that we can do our closure plan for the DEC, which would include grading, seeding, mulching, etc. And then ultimately, the topography would be used for the future development of the site, whether it be a commercial, residential, whatever we decide that's going to happen there. So we need the topography for two reasons. And but most importantly is to get this thing closed for the DEC.
Absolutely. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? I think Art summed it up nicely. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have a return of a building permit received from Don McClear. Dear board members, we need to inform you that we are not pursuing the project at 18 New Street and wish to withdraw the building permit. So this is just more standard matter. They're not going to be...
If I could just clarify that there's not a 100% return. There's a provision in the state law that says that depending on the level of review. So this looks like a 50%, which means that probably tend to do some review, but covers our costs.
Right.
So there's 50% is being returned, 50% is being withheld.
Okay. Very good. All right, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. This is to schedule a public hearing. We talked about in our last work session, the charges that, or not charges, I'm sorry, the cost that can be levied when there is a towing in the village. The Village of Goshen sets minimums for towings, and it was done a long time ago, and this is just updating them to really keep them in line with industry standards. So the people that are actually doing the towing are making what they should be making and nothing more. It's kind of a ceiling to protect both the consumers who are using the tow, fortunately or unfortunately, and for the private enterprise. So I'll ask for a motion to approve. This is a scheduling of a public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
The Village Board hereby resolves to hold a public hearing on December 12, 2011 at 7:30 for the consideration of adoption of Local Law 4 of 2011, a local law amending Section 54-6, Article 1 of the Code of the Village of Goshen, entitled Impoundment, Redemption of Vehicles. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and we have another proposal from Lincoln Tully. This is part of our sewer infrastructure work that continues to be ongoing. Again, I'll have Art speak to this.
Yeah, this is, it's actually part of the I&I analysis, but in the area of Canal Street, where we have what's known as the siphon. The siphon is part of the sanitary sewer collection system that's been causing the village problems ever since it was put in pretty much, and more so as time goes on. It basically is an area where the sewer line goes underneath the stream and comes back up on the other side. And the way it works is by sewer pressure that pushes the sewage through. Mike has had to continues to have to clean it out every time there's going to be a major storm so that any sediment or obstructions are removed. We've done some preliminary investigations based on information that we were able to find in the village already, done by other engineers in the past, and there's a chance that we might be able to eliminate the siphon and, run a pipe directly across the Rio. This is where the problem exists. But what we need to do is shoot some grades over there to determine whether or not that can be done more accurately. So this proposal is for us to spend some time in that area shooting elevations of the existing sewer system and trying to come up with a preliminary design, if possible, to eliminate the siphon.
Very good. So it's something that, it's a part of the sewer infrastructure that has been a challenging spot for the village for a number of years, and this is just continuing what we've started, and I think this, along with the trunk line replacement by the plant, will be two really major things, and hopefully this study determines that it can be done. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
You got it.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Now we have mayor trustee comments. We'll start with trustee Matthews.
Well, let me tell you, if it weren't for this permit, I'd be home in bed. I'd look old from...
We know where it's from.
I know. I didn't finish it out. This permit is the consolidation of all prior village water supply approvals and the following new authorization. This is to take a combined amount of water up to 1.3 million gallons per day from Prospect Reservoir, Green Hill Reservoir, and Crystal Run Village CRD wells number 1 and 2. The CRD wells are approved for a maximum combined withdrawal of 575 gallons per minute, which is 828,000 gallons per day above what we originally expected, and they have continually provided that much. Combined withdrawals from the Prospect and Green Hill reservoirs are limited in accordance with special conditions. Finally, this is the permit from the DEC that I personally have had contact with on a very intimate level for a number of years, but for the village, this means that we are given 30 days to make comment and work out any difficulties at all. I know that there are a couple of questions that I have, and I would love if we could set this up, since we must respond within 30 days, and this was dated on the 15th, that we could put it on the agenda for the work session, so that everyone on the board would have an opportunity to scope it out entirely and ask any questions. But in truth, I could not be happier than to see this finally come to fruition after all these years of everyone working for the village, trying extremely hard after living through that horrible drought, and come up with an augmentation to our water supply, the first in over 100 years. I am exceedingly proud and cannot wait till it's signed on the bottom line. But this is it. This is the paper that says it is going to be approved. So, yeehaw, I do say. Thank you all for your support. Thank you, Art. Thank you, attorneys. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Jim Ulrich. This is a very proud time. You're very welcome, but this is a very proud day and a healthy day for the Village of Goshen. Everything else seems minor. However, we do need to make a couple of comments. I wanted on the record my applause to Maria Kenner for her Lifetime Achievement Award from the Orange County Arts Council, and particularly had a marvelous moment at the checkout at ShopRite over Thanksgiving holiday when there was a little girl, a precocious little girl behind me, who told me that she took ballet lessons from Mrs. Kenner. And I asked her how old she was, and she said 4. And I said, I started ballet lessons with Mrs. Kenner when I was 4. No kidding. So bravo to Maria. I think that's it.
Trustee Stewart?
As everybody is well aware, our crews continue to pick up from the storm damage, and they've done a wonderful job of picking it up. There obviously was just an enormous amount of limbs and trees all over the village. Also, of course, the fall leaf pickup has begun, and as I've said before, please try to keep the leaves separate from the storm damage, because they're still picking those up, and they can't, they use, obviously, suction to pick up the leaves, they can't pick up the limbs with that. The crews put the 15 free parking space in front of 100 Greenwich Avenue, which is Village, in the vicinity of Village Pizza. As was discussed, and we had a public hearing on, the no parking anytime sign was installed on the northeast side of Orange Avenue, 125 feet in either direction from the center line of Parkway. And as usual, there will be free parking in the downtown area from November 25th through January 1st, and hopefully that'll help our businesses, which obviously, as we all know from the paper, are not doing well. That's it.
Can I add something that I forgot?
Absolutely.
I had said that I would contact two people at our last meeting. Number one was Dave Church from the county to make sure that we would have the information we have been begging for from the county and promised me for the work session second in December. And I contacted, Michael actually took care of contacting NICEAG and their subcontractor. And the pothole on Erie and Montgomery will be attended to, and the corner of Lincoln and North Church, which has totally been blown away, will be attended to.
Okay, great. Trustee Char? Happy birthday to Trustee Char, by the way.
Happy birthday, yes.
Birthday tonight.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Two things, actually.
21 again.
Yeah, thanks, Val. Two things that play in actually very nicely with the $3,000 grant we were talking about that Officer Rich was able to get for us. And it's not the only one, as you'll find out in a second. But the village was awarded by the AAA of New York two awards recently. One for Community Traffic Safety Award for its safety efforts, including seatbelt enforcement and speed enforcement programs. Also, a Pedestrian Safety Award. It's been 24 years without any kind of pedestrian fatality in the village. And also, Officer Rich got us a second grant for $2,695 to help schedule extra patrols to target speeding and aggressive driving. Those kind of things that ultimately lead to us getting awards from AAA. So, again, thank you to Officer Rich for his, his great police services, but also his diligence in always trying to find money for the village. Every bit helps.
We overshot the amount.
What, I said $2,695?
You said 22.
22. I was impressed.
Sorry, $2,695.
That is wonderful.
$2,695, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, they must be having to do this as special
I
events.
was hoping the state was paying attention, would send us the extra 20. Thanks.
All I have tonight, we already spoke about the upcoming sewer work and the grading on the dirt pile site. I'll just add that on November 15th, 16th, and 18th, we had the DPW crews with the contractor were smoke testing sewer lines, looking for legal connections with storm drains and gutters going into the sewer system. And that's all part of the continued I&I work, and that was also part of what we have been discussing with the DEC. And I just want to make it clear for the public that as we look for these legal connections, the rationale is not to punish. There's no fines or anything to be levied, because a lot of people don't know that they have legal connections. It's more just to identify them and point homeowners in the right direction so that they can rectify this, because, these legal connections are what partially adds to the infiltration and inflow that we're dealing with. So, that's all I have. Go to citizen comments.
One other thing, I assume we must be starting that project out on the bike truck, because I tried to run out there the other day, and...
You didn't pull in any holes, did you?
No, but there's big huge signs on both ends to be prosecuted as you enter onto the trail.
They started doing test pits today to verify the location of utilities, so, yes.
Clearing trees in front.
Yep.
All right. Neil, slide your hand up.
Yes, regarding I think it was a $75,000 grant from Orange County for sewer
Yes.
repair, restoration. Was that a result of the village grants writers' efforts?
No.
Or?
No, that was actually applied for before we even had conversations with them. That's just the yearly community development block grant.
Okay. And as to smoke testing, I haven't heard from you at West Main Street. Any thought as to when West Main Street might
I think we're done. I think West Main Street was done. I'll have to double check specifically, but I think the smoke testing has been done in that area already.
Okay, just for future reference, if you ever need to get in touch with me, my contact information is on www.goshennewyork.info.
Okay.
Yeah. Any Did you find anything?
We found some minor intrusions from I-9, but nothing of any significance. We thought we might find more, but the smoke testing didn't result in anything significant. Just a couple of islands.
Any downspouts from roof gutters?
Couple.
Yeah?
Couple, yeah.
Okay. Another item, gosh, we've been noticing just right next door here, it just seems like there's a lot of diesel fumes. It seems like diesel fumes or carbon monoxide fumes. And it's been going on for a few weeks, and then the thought occurred to us, it might be, we didn't realize they were having, you know, busing over here and running buses back and forth. And I don't know if it's from that. I also noticed that they have nighttime lights, look like highway lights that they're using over at the Harold Innocence field. But anyway, we don't like it, and I'm not sure where it's coming from, if that's the source, but I would hope that if that is the source, that the village might do something about it. And just an observation, it's not even a criticism, it's just an observation really. I was in Warwick on Sunday. We left Goshen, and Goshen was just like a ghost town. I mean, there was just really nothing, didn't seem like there was anything going on. And we drove through Florida, and it seemed like you couldn't find a parking spot in Florida. A lot of people walking up and down the streets, and then we got to Warwick, and same kind of thing. It was difficult even to park, and you just walking down the streets, you'd have to kind of walk sideways just to get past everybody. It was almost like being in New York. And here you have this village that's kind of out, you know, isolated village, far away from any interstate or highway. And I just can't figure out why there's that differential between Goshen, which is right next to two major interstates, or, you know, one future interstate. You got Interstate 84 and you got 17 future, what is that going to be, I-86, right? And I just can't for the life of me figure out why we seem to have such a hard time attracting people or business to the village when we're so easy to get to.
Shopping local.
What's that?
There's too many people go to Warwick in Florida instead of shopping local.
No, I think quite honestly,
kidding.
well, seriously, I think quite honestly.
That's not meant to be.
No,
I know,
think
I'm kidding around.
I was in Warwick on Saturday, and if you go to dinner there, you'll find that I have found, at any rate, that it's just like Goshen at about 9:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone has finished dinner and the place is left. And on top of that, we have always made our money on being the county seat. And our business is primarily made during the week.
Mm-hmm.
One of the joys as well, or when you have a crowded business population during the week, was the peace of the weekend. And I think we are experiencing far more pressure than ever with the dispersal of all the county offices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just can't for the life of me figure out what it is, but there does seem to be that differential.
We're business, not entertainment.
Also, the town of Warwick is one of the largest populated towns rather in the county, I think it's after New Windsor. So there's a lot of people that live in the Warwick village area. And I don't think there's a lot of choices in Warwick. You go south, and there's not much as you go south.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Goshen isn't,
That is true.
there's a lot of competition. Yeah, so I think that large population and the fact that it's a village that's on the very south end of the county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. They don't have Middletown right next to them.
I thought about that myself. There is a tremendous activity in the village, you're absolutely right.
But that's not to be said either. I mean, there's unique ideas that, you know, you have or anyone else has. I mean, I think this board is always amenable to brainstorming about what we can do to help the downtown and all
Yeah.
that. So if you think of anything or suggestions,
I just want to know, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Spend your money for
It's
the holidays
frustrating.
here.
Yeah.
Just to kind of caveat that, what you said, I mean, I've noticed that as well, but Warwick has a host of shops of different sorts, of everything from jewelry stores to you name it, you know, a lot of shopping opportunities in there, and kind of like unique places. We just don't have that here in the village, but I will tell you that on Saturday, you couldn't even get your foot in the door at Linda's office supply.
For sure.
I mean, and everybody was in there Christmas shopping, and you know, because that's kind of a unique place in the village, per se, for people to go and pick up different things and stuff, and she was busy as busy can be.
Mhm.
And if you talk to some of the businesses in Warwick, I mean, they pay a less rent than the
Yeah.
businesses do here in the village, because we do have the governmental, you know,
Mhm.
funding for it. Well, we'll see what happens then.
Mhm.
That's why it's so critical about what's happening right now.
And then other than a few places, if you look up and down the streets, other than a very few places are empty as far as potential places for somebody to operate this. There isn't anything really available up and down the street, down the main corridor, so West Main and all those things, so.
But again, and I didn't mean to be critical of the village, you know, it's just, but gosh, we're right on a highway. You know, I can't help but think it's just all the traffic. I mean, sometimes that highway keeps me up at night, it's so loud. And so I know there's a lot of traffic on it. I don't know, the thought occurs to me, I don't know if the village owns a hill along the highway or something, but it'd be pretty neat to put up a big sign, kind of like the Hollywood sign, you know, Goshen.
We can talk about it in the signage committee meeting on Wednesday.
And I suppose we can, yes.
I emailed you.
But that's the one advantage we do have that they don't have, is we're right, you know, right in the crotch of these two major interstate highways. Yeah. All right.
Any further citizen comments?
Yeah, I've got something for you. Neil has somewhat stolen my thunder.
Sorry.
The two things that I wanted to bring to the floor tonight sort of intersect and tie together. I'm sure that everybody saw this in the business section of the record about the parking lot that the county has established, the parking ride for the buses. And it's also my understanding that Port Jervis line went back into service today, so that should be attenuated somewhat. It's also my understanding that as a result of Montgomery Street residents complaining that Chief Watt interceded to attenuate and deal with some of the noise issues there. However, putting all of that aside, what concerns me most about this is that this is the county hooking up to the sewer line all over again. It never came before this board. It was never discussed before this board. This board never approved it. The county went ahead and did it. As a private citizen, if I went ahead and did what the county has done, I would have Mr. Donovan, Mr. Donnelly, and Ted Lewis up my behind, because it's not allowed. I would have to go through an environmental review process with Seeker. County went through none of that. Now, some of that may be written off by the county being a higher authority. We have 3 attorneys in the room, and I'm sure they can speak to that. Even if that's true, we are the host village to the county. The county operates with a free hand as though this municipality does not exist. This governing entity does not exist. They take a free ride with regard to taxes. They offer nothing in lieu of taxes. Now, I've put it before this board before that I would love to see the village and the town go together to the legislature and have the county pick up traffic enforcement in lieu of taxes, services in lieu of taxes. This would allow a reduction of both police departments and a big savings to both budgets. Neil is talking about the decline in economic activity in the core village. It's only a matter of time before that ends up as a fiscal issue before this board, as the assessed base continues to shrink through a lack of commercial ratables. The two are connected. That's what I was saying, that they kind of intersect and are connected. I don't understand, quite honestly, how Mr. Diana could just so flippantly do this without even a nod to the board, let alone to the mayor. I mean, I assume that had you received a call, you would have brought it to the board. I think it's concerning.
Thank you.
You're right.
Any further citizen comments? Strangers?
You know, as far as leaves go on their pickups, what's the status of that? I mean, they're going around, but,
I know that, and I talked to Mike Rowe, I'm sure you did as well. They did the Grant Street, that section of the village, and he said that next they're going to be focusing on Montgomery and Murray. In terms of South Street, I think that he might be bringing in a chipper for that from an outside source. Yeah, so I think that's where in your neck of the woods, that should be coming up in the next week or so, I would assume. But I'm not positive. But it's ongoing. It's just a function of getting all the leaves with the brush and maintaining our garbage and recycling pickup at once with a finite workforce. I know it's taking a long time, and I appreciate everyone's patience, but it's still ongoing, and they have been picking things up.
Unfortunately, the weather has kind of cooperated, and it's been wonderful lately. But, you know, I know from talking to him, obviously, we got a slower start to the leaf. We didn't start picking up the leaves when we normally would, because the focus was to try to get on the whole, because anybody that rode around, as I did all over the village, there were branches and piles of branches up and down every street in the village. And they tried to start that and get that really in the works before they started picking up leaves. And there were a lot of places where I go in and out of the village every day going to work, and there were plenty of places where people had their leaves with the limbs stacked in the middle of the leaves, so they really had to get the limbs out of the way first. So that delayed everything, and thank goodness that the weather's cooperated and hasn't snowed. They're going to continue going, and, you know, it was his focus to get all the limbs and all the leaves, so it should be done.
well, they did pick up the majority, they picked up what we had out, but we had, you know, we fixed up a tree that had been interesting. Trimmed most of it out this past weekend. I was wondering if it would get picked up or not, because they had been by us once.
I know that there's other streets that are similarly situated that they came around to immediately after after the snowstorm, and they picked up the initial stuff, but those houses, like your own, still might have had leaves on them and branches that hadn't been brought to the road yet. So I think he plans on going around again to those select areas. I can confirm that, but I don't think he plans on leaving anyone to their own devices. You know, the village is here to help with that, and as long as people can, you know, understand that we're trying our best, that we'll make it around, I'm sure he'll be able to take a trip out there and take care of that.
Was there somebody else, an outside organization helping with the getting rid of the limbs?
That's what I mentioned. I think that we brought in a chipper, because the cost of renting a chipper for the day and the cost of bringing in a company with the chipper, there was only a slight increase in having the whole company come in and do it, so our guys could keep doing what they were doing in other areas. So I believe, and I think that he said that South Street was one area that can expect that, yeah.
Who was the outside firm?
I don't have it in front of me.
The village doesn't own a chipper?
We might. I think we do, but just to kind of accelerate things, because one chipper to go around the entire village, you know, especially twice, it's just going to take forever, and especially with incoming snow, just to accelerate the process and at what should not be a large cost. That's the rationale.
Yeah, I believe we do own a chipper, but obviously, some of these limbs were extraordinary in their size, and I just happened to be around and be in court here a lot during that period of time. I'm sure a lot of people saw it. They were using double trucks and a big front-end loader, and they had some of them where they needed two front-end loaders to pick them up to dump them into the truck. So there was a lot of man-hours and effort that went into this.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If I could just real quickly, there's one thing I wanted to add about the park and ride. That is not the county operating that park and ride.
Correct.
That was leased, I believe, for $1 to Shortline Coach. It's essentially a private activity. The county has interceded. I'm not sure legally if they have the authority, because it is a private party that's involved here, to step in with a change of use like that without going through the planning board. However, I'd like to point out that there is a park and ride out by the Goshen Plaza. Goshen Plaza is currently in default on their taxes. They're in foreclosure. We also know that the condition of that lot is, on both sides, is terrible. I understand that.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
Mhm.
However, Coach is a private business. They are making a bundle on the additional riders who are commuting every day. A deal might be possible to work out for Coach to do some repaving out there and help out with the taxes that Goshen Plaza is in default on. And again, this, as far as I know, wasn't even explored. And I think it behooves the county to look to some other ideas other than simply snapping their fingers and saying, we're just doing this. There are
I hope you go
other...
to the county and say these things, because in times when we have tried to work with the county, though they were a superseding municipality, it is taking great time, effort, and leverage in order to facilitate some kind of communication. So it would be helpful if you would...
You've got contacts in the legislature.
Yes, but you're a citizen here. I think they need to hear a citizen as well.
Believe me, I'll be calling Mr. Pahookie.
Very
But it certainly wouldn't hurt for the board through the
Whatever
chair
means.
to communicate to Mr. Diana and let him know that this behavior is not acceptable. Thank you.
Any further citizen comments?
Just a quick question, if I may. Any idea what it costs for a truck full of debris to remove a dump truck full?
I have to look it up unless you're in the ballpark.
Well, I mean,
The ballpark, it doesn't have to be exact.
we're using our own trucks,
Yeah.
and I assume we're taking it out to the place where we take all the other brush and recycling. I didn't ask, but I've not been told that we're taking it anywhere else. If we were, we'd be paying for it. So I'm sure we're taking it where we take all the other, all the normal branches and things that we pick up during the year.
Yard waste.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, because I spoke with my own, because I was concerned about my own street, because we had, trying to get on, figuring out when the schedule was coming. And part of the difficulty, exactly as the mayor said, are the huge limbs, that they've had to go back to the old-fashioned way of doing it, to just deal with lifting, and that costs man-hours. That costs man-hours. So,
But I've watched them in several areas, like I
they're working
said.
hard.
And it's our DPW dump trucks,
Yeah.
and our backhoe, and our people.
It takes time.
We're not hiring, other than the chipper that we brought in.
And even though we get frustrated, I know I took a ride down to New Jersey over the vacation, and you could see from the highway, you could see the piles in front of the houses that are built right up on 17 or in the same position we are.
Before you adjourn, could we have a report on the consent order and the process with the AG?
Dave, do you have anything new to report?
There's nothing new since the last meeting.
All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, good night.
Okay, so I'm gonna call, Jim and what,
Talking to me?
no, I'm talking to Hart.